friends. Welcome to another live Mindful Seed practice process session. Super glad you're here today. I'm glad I'm here too. I kind of like this. I thought I was going to hate it when it was first discovered that we were going to be doing these Facebook Lives, but I've really come to appreciate them and to appreciate the comments that we get back, that they're helpful. So thank you so much. Today we're going to be looking at and doing some very specific practices for the process of resilience. And what I think at this time, I don't know, what are we in, like week 7, 8? I think we were in week 7 or 8 last week, so now we must be in week 8 or 9. So I don't really know where we are. However, we are in this thing neck deep, and what I have been processing for myself, and then just share with you in hopes that it's even a tiny bit useful, is that our whole experience of resilience, of learning resilience, of being resilient, is a process, and a process means that there's never really an end, right? It means that things are ongoing and they continue, and we make steps and we fall down and we get up and we keep going. And so our process of resilience is super alive. It's very organic, I guess you could say. It's changeable. Every day it's different because every day you are different. And so wherever you are in your process of resilience is just right. But that doesn't mean that you're going to stay there. And so we're going to talk a little bit about acceptance of what things are and being able to transform the things that don't feel so good and that are not beneficial to you. So let's start with a breathing practice. We'll come into current time. Have some notes over here. Oh, but you know what? I found a little quote that I want to share with you. And since we've been in this situation, I think we're going on 2 months, pretty close. This quote comes from a little book, a little micro book. Look at how tiny it is. It's super tiny. It's, I don't know, that big. And it's called The Proverbs for Daily Living. And it's just a bunch of sweet little quotes. And this one says, "Be at war with your vices, at peace with your neighbors, and let every new month find you a better person." And so we've been in this for 2 months. And so hopefully we are a little better people. And if we're not, there's a way that we can be. And it's a really fun way too. So we'll explore. So let's come into current time. Please find, we're going to do a counted breathing practice, and I'll walk you through it. And so please come into current time with yourself. And whatever that is for you, what is your current time? As you are in current time, please feel into your physical body, how you are, any aches and pains, little things that need to be moved and rotated to be a little bit more comfortable. If you like your eyes closed, please close them. And if you like them open, just gaze down at maybe your finger tracker pad on your laptop, or maybe even a little farther down at the top of your table or desk. Let go of a long, smooth exhale. And as you do, release that tension and tightness that happened in the jaw and the back of the skull, down through the neck and the shoulders, and exhale all of that down. Imagine that you're sweeping your breath through your body. Exhale down. Kind of let it go down out through the soles of your feet on the floor. And then take a really big inhale, lengthen the spine, lift from your tailbone, up the spine through the lower back, and then up the spine through your rib cage back, between your shoulder blades, lengthen the neck, lift the crown of the head. And then as you exhale, again, soften the jaw inside of the mouth, soften the shoulders down toward the hips. One more deep breath, belly in, or excuse me, belly expanding, nice and wide as you inhale. And then exhale, let the belly settle in toward the spine. One more big deep breath. And exhale. Again, come into current time. And please give yourself a friendly hello. And then for the counted breathing, you just let your breath be smooth and even right now as I explain, and then we'll count together. You and your mind, and I'll count out loud for the first 2 breath cycles. We will inhale together for the count of 5, have a pause at the top of the inhale, and then exhale together to the count of 7. So exhale, inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, pause, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to slow down. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Please count on your own. Inhale 5 and exhale 7. One more cycle. 5 in, 7 out. And please release the count when you come to 7. Let the breath take a smooth, rhythmic pattern. And please notice in current time how you feel, what might be happening in there, what's happening in your mind. And one more full breath. Feel your seat on the chair and your feet on the floor. Expand your awareness to the outside edge of your skin, aware of the space around you, aware of the sounds, aware of the temperature, aware of the light behind closed eyelids. And then as you're ready, you can float open the eyelids, coming fully back to current time. Yeah. And so before we move on and get too far away from that breath, please notice for yourself how that counted breathing pattern works on the inside of you. And sometimes we notice that we run out of exhale really quickly. And what we can kind of gather from that is that when we don't fully exhale, which is there's some interesting science and shared opinions around and about, that we inhale more than we exhale. We take in more than we release and let go. And so there's all this kind of symbolism of the breath that in our world in general, we take in much more than we let go of, right? We take in more technology, more screen time, more food, more conversation, whatever, right? Um, and when we have more coming in than we do have going out, than we have going out, we get a little overwhelmed. Things get stagnant in there. We get overloaded. And so I really love this process of being able to really let go of the exhale all the way out, all the way out, all the way out until we feel like we might, ah, I need to breathe. That's called reflexive breathing. And when the body knows that that's it, that's all I got, then it will take that, just that big natural breath. And that's very cleansing. It's cleansing to our nervous system. That long, slow, extended exhale tells us on a really biological, neurological, neurobiology level that we're okay, that we can let go, that we can come into rest and relax, rest and respond, rest and rejuvenate, rather than being stuck in fight or flight. So practice a long exhale. And if it feels really jagged at first, that's okay. It's simply an indicator of, oh my gosh, this is where I am. And there's something I can do about that. So maybe instead of a 5-7, you can start with a 4-6, and kind of experiment with what feels good for you. And then just gradually over time, work yourself up to that 5-7 count. And then practice it a couple times a day. Really bring yourself into current time and let your nervous system let your nervous system rest. Yeah. So let's move into the process of our resilience. Um, oh, Resilience it's a fun practice, but sometimes it can be, we can hear it around too much. We can hear this word everywhere. Grit, be gritty, have some grit, be resilient, don't let life knock you. Well, yes. And what is it? What does it really mean? How do you do it? I can't tell you how to do it for yourself. That's something that you've really got to explore because not everything works for everybody, as we know, and not everybody is knocked down by the same events and challenges in life. So, what the strategies are, what the tools are, experiment with those, try on one and do it for several days so you kind of really get a feel for it. Does this work for me? Okay, let me try another technique or whatever, and just play with it. Have fun with the process of growing. It doesn't have to be all doom and gloom and like, oh my gosh, this totally sucks, and when are we ever gonna go? And then you have that big thought, yeah, we're never gonna go back to normal because there really is no normal. So your resilience has a lot to do. I have to think about this before I say it. Maybe, I don't know for sure. Maybe your resilience has everything to do with your mindset, which is really, really amazing if that were true. I don't know if it is because um, we tread on thin ice when we say always or never. And so maybe our resilience has everything to do with our mindset. And wouldn't that be nice? Because our mindset, we know there's so much research out there now, but in the late 90s, mid 90s, Carol Dweck, and you know her work, she coined that phrase for us and helped us understand that we can change our way of thinking. We don't have to live in stuck patterns that no longer serve us. We don't have to live in a belief system or a worldview just because it's been what we've always done up until a point of thinking, oh, maybe I should do something different. Our brain actually changes. Our brain develops according to the experiences that it has. Huh? So, what kind of experiences do you want to give your brain? And how do you want your brain to develop? And so, when we're in the thick of a 2-month work from home, school from home experience, what kind of a mindset have we cultivated over those 2 months? And like our quote that we started with, am I better every month? And what does better mean for me? Because better is, oh my gosh, one of the most subjective things we could, throw out there, right? So what does better mean to you personally? And are you making progress toward your better every month? So our practices, we're going to do them together right now, but you need a pencil and a piece of paper. And it can be the back of an envelope laying around or napkin on the table or whatever you have at hand. But take a minute. I'm going to give you some think time in the teacherly world, teacher language, to grab a pen and a piece of paper. Okay, so you have your pen, you have your piece of paper. We're going to do some reflective journaling prompts together. And of course, in this format of class, I can't see you and I don't know what your thoughts are unless you type them in. So if you type some comments, that would be great. And if not, that's okay too. I'll just do my best. So our first journaling prompt on your page, 2 things that went well for you in the last 2 days. So all of today from 3:46 p.m. all the way through this morning when you first woke up and all the way through yesterday. 2 things that went well. I'm going to write them down too because I really like this one. Okay, you got your 2 things. Your next journal prompt, considering these 2 things that went well for you, please come up with, true, one thing that you did to contribute to whatever went well. A specific behavior, a specific thought process, some specific words. So one thing that you did to contribute to whatever it was that went well. Okay. So your one thing that you did to contribute to that. And then number 3. Okay, now this one, just be honest, okay? No one's looking over your shoulder. And one thing, one thing that you really like about yourself, right? Just one. Big, small, tiny, anywhere in between. One thing you like about yourself. Okay. Now, just for the sake of time and the format of our classroom, I'm not going to share mine. If you are in your classroom with your students, or if you are in a leadership position and working with your team, whatever your team looks like in whatever leadership position you might be in, you might share one of yours just as an example that and helping the other participants feel comfortable and safe. But this is not about you. This is about creating an environment where we are safe to recognize the good, right? We all want the good, right? It's what we post on our social media, right? We scroll through all those pictures and we definitely throw out the ones where we have the greenie right in our tooth, right? We want the good. But sometimes when we share in a personal setting what is going well for us, we can feel a little bit intimidated, especially in times of stress or anxiety, especially if in our specific work situation, it's not, maybe there's some big struggles uh, in our current world situation. We obviously have a big struggle. And so we might be a little intimidated or uncomfortable to share what is going well. But as we're in that role of leader, when we have the courage to share what is going well, it gives others that courage also. And so you might follow that model and just give an example and then let others share and give voice to their reality. When we have our thought processes and then we can write those thoughts onto a piece of paper and make them visible. I don't know if you can actually see words on that paper. There's such a bad glare. But when we can bring our thoughts into written words, into the visible world, they become more real. And then we speak them and share them. And because they're heard and witnessed by others, they become even more real. Now, here's the fun thing about why we're doing the positive. What went well? We get sucked into things that aren't going our way. And when we can stop and clear that perspective and notice that there really are things that are going well, even if they're tiny, even if yesterday you drank your 8 glasses of water and it was the only, right? That shows into your deep mind stream that something, no matter how tiny, something is going right. And we need, sometimes we crave, but we need at a very uh, multi what's my word I'm looking for? At a very multi-layered experience. We need it in our physical biology. We need it in our psychology. We need it in our heart space. We need things to go well. And so we bring those into the physical, tangible world, seeing them on a piece of paper. And then when we go into what I did to help that, that gives us a confirmation of truth. I actually remembered and made it a priority to go and get drinks of water, right? I drink a glass in one gulp so that I could get my enough water in there. And so I made time to do that. I honored my commitment to myself. I honored the needs of my physical body. And so we create in our mind and then layering over into our brain a neural pathway of positivity. Oh, I did that. I can do it again. And then I think we talked about this last week or sometime back. When we recognize what I did to contribute to things going well, you got to give yourself your own dopamine hit, right? Yay, good job, self. Nice going. Because we work on a dopamine reward system. And so when I can notice that things are good, when I recognize what I am doing on purpose with intention, I think my video is still working, but it says I got a little message here. Well, so we'll fingers crossed that we're still going here. Um, and then I give myself that dopamine hit of recognizing that I am capable. It starts that habit, right? That habit loop of positivity. Okay. And then, in the fun part, when you recognize what was the prompt? One thing you really like about yourself. We see ourselves. This is the work of Dr. Daryl Bem, self-perception theory. We label ourselves based on observable behaviors. So when I look at my 2 things that went well, I look at specifically what I did to contribute to that, and then I look in and see something that I like. I am creating a self-perception that I am decent, worthwhile, that I'm good. I am creating a self-perception that I am enough. And so we start to disentangle and unweave the not good enough lie. And that not good enough lie is real and it's destructive. And if you live there for long enough, it'll get you. And so going through these 3 prompts on a regular basis, and regular doesn't have to mean every single day. It can mean twice a week. It can mean once a week. whatever you decide, right? But you set that for yourself. And then do these check-ins with yourself and start to build that loop of seeing yourself as, or seeing your life, I guess, first, that there is goodness in it, seeing yourself as being able to contribute to and cultivate that goodness, and then seeing yourself as good enough. And that's where resilience comes from. If we don't think that we have it in us to overcome the challenges, we won't. What you think you become. And so as we look at our observable, demonstrated behaviors, the words that we actually speak, and we see those as real and true, we develop a capacity for resilience. And again, it's a process. And some days you'll come up with those two things and then it'll feel so good that, and you will keep going with your list. And you'll end up with a whole long list of things that are going well. And then as you look, well, what did I contribute to those things going on? You'll end up with a whole long list of what you do on a regular basis to to honor your commitments to yourself, to actually work towards your goals, to live your values, okay? To really know your strengths and live them. And this is kind of tying into the youth positive work. You're living your unique genius. You've explored it. This was just a process of exploring your unique genius. And the more you do that, you will live your unique genius. I'm getting this put on t-shirts. Stand by. They'll be available on the Youth Positive website. I'm in the process of trademarking that. And so that's going to be our logo that we can live by, that we can use as our reminder. I'm living my unique genius because I'm exploring it, right? And then as I explore it, I get it, I know what it is, I can really feel it. It is my felt experience of life, and then I live it and I do it. And I am resilient. And that's just the way I show up. As we move through the process, our resilience process, right? Is there an end? Do we ever really land on resilience and we've got it? Maybe. I think, let me see, I've been doing this work for 50 years. I'll be 50 this year. So I've been doing this work. Well, you start this when you're probably a teenager. So what? I don't know. 35 years? I think it's doable. I totally think we can end up resilient and that the process can continually, consistently, over time without ceasing, the process will result in a resilient you. And then you're living your unique genius because that's one of the characteristics that is your unique genius. And it's resilient in your life, in your experience, in your beliefs, in your mindset, through your perspective filter, right? So everybody has resilience, but it's their own unique resilience. And that's the fun of life, right? That's the fun of taking what comes our way and not being sucked down by it, but saying, okay, how can I get over this? How can I move through this? What qualities and characteristics do I have that I can bring and overcome whatever comes my way? Overcome my 2 months of working from home, which, maybe some of us love it, maybe some of us hate it, whether or not, wherever we are in that spectrum, we're here and it's real. And so again, just your reminder of your practices. It's a three-part practice, right? Two things in the last 2 days that went well. One thing that you did, I did, when you say to yourself, that contributed to whatever went well. And then one thing that I really like about myself. Okay. And then your final practice that you'll do once a week. The research, when I studied positive psychology, the research at that time was that a once a week gratitude practice on the same day at the same time had more impact than a practice scattered throughout the week or random, just like, oh, let me be grateful. It's never a bad idea to be grateful. But set yourself up a time once a week where you can do a gratitude list. And it doesn't have to be long, it's just your authentic experience. And then part two to that, write your list and then share it. Share it with at least one other person and whatever on that list you feel comfortable with. It might not be the whole list, but one or two things, right? Ideally, share with someone under the same roof as you. Or second option, call up a friend and have a conversation and say, "Hey, I just wanted to share some things that I observe that are going well," and or maybe it's somebody that you are grateful for and you can have that conversation with them. Okay. And so my gratitude is for you, for being here, for showing up, for participating in our mindful seed adventures and being able to share some of the things that I've learned along the way that they didn't just make a difference, they transformed my life and have really created in me and for me something beautiful at all times, in all situations, even in the poopy ones. So thank you for being here. If you are interested in watching this again, I am posting these to the Molly Doll YouTube channel, so you can find them there. You can always watch again right here. And you can find resources on youthpositive.net and mindfulseed.org. So thank you very much. Have a fabulous rest of your day, whatever time it is in your part of the world, and we'll see you next time. Take good care.